Hello everyone, it's Calum here, and today I'm bringing you a new series of Budget Blitz videos. If you know anything about me, you know that I love to get a bit thrifty, and I also like to deck build. And when you're brewing up a deck, I think that if you limit yourself creatively, you can force yourself to get a bit inventive. So with that in mind, I wanted to try and construct a deck that had no Majestics, no Legendaries, and certainly no Fableds, but could still be somewhat competitive. I don't think it's going to win any callings anytime soon, but you should still be able to take it down to an Armory and have a bit of fun. I decided to start with Prism because, well, it's Prism month. The Prism Armory kits are in stores at the moment. You can head on down to your local LGS and maybe you'll nab yourself one of these gorgeous Herald playmats. There are 8 different arts, one for each of the Herald that guard the gates of Solana. I have the Herald of Protection mat here. So yeah, without further ado, let me show you the deck that I have affectionately termed Hark Now, Herald Angels Sing. Okay, so now that we've got the whole deck laid out, we can see it's pretty straightforward. I'm basically playing every Herald that I can. For the purposes of this video, I'm counting Enigma Chimera as an honorary Herald, a Chimera Angel, if you will. On top of that, I've got a lot of cheap, efficient go-again attacks here to hopefully apply as much pressure as possible. The name of the game here is aggression. We're not planning on doing too much blocking, we're just swinging in with our powerful illusions. Now, of course, the downside to having these powerful attacks is the Phantasm keyword, which means if your opponents defend them with an attack action card with 6 or more attack, then the illusion will be destroyed and your attack won't resolve. But that's actually not as much of a downside as you might think. For starters, a lot of the top blitz decks at the moment don't actually play many 6 attack cards. I mean, if you think about Dorinthia or Ira, for example, Ira basically only plays Command and Conquer, and Dorinthia generally doesn't play any 6 attack action cards at all, so this can be quite a powerful deck against those heroes. Of course, you might well face heroes that do pack a lot of high attack actions, such as Bravo or Rhinar, but you have a couple tricks against them as well. For example, you're running 4 copies of Blinding Beam, which are nice because they function as resource cards as well as ways to push your attacks through. In fact, late game, it becomes pretty difficult for your opponent to block one of your Phantasms with just one 6 attack card. Because if they're at a low life total and you're attacking with something like a War-Tune Herald or an Enigma Chimera, and then you blinding beam their attack, giving it -2 attack and taking it below that 6 attack threshold, then your Phantasm isn't going to trigger, and you're going to be coming through for 4 or 5 damage, and they might just die on the spot. You also have this sneaky little frontline scout here, which is a nice card because you can put it in your arsenal and play it, giving it go again and chipping in for a little bit of damage, but more importantly, you get to look at your opponent's hand. So you get to see whether the coast is clear to then use one of your big Phantasm attacks, or if you see that they do have a 6 attack card, then you might think about popping your Dreamweavers, for example. So once we've beaten the opponent down a bit, how do we finish them off? Well, that's where this month's Armory promo comes in. Phantasmify. Phantasmify can be a super powerful combo with Herald of Tenacity in particular, because that Herald has Dominate. And then you combo it with Dreamweavers, and all of a sudden you've got a super powerful attack which has 11 attack and Dominate and doesn't have Phantasm. So that's enough often to finish off a weakened opponent who doesn't have much health or armor left. So in terms of upgrading this deck and making it better if you wanted to with a couple of Majestics or the odd Legendary, you could definitely think about throwing in a couple of Phantasmaclasms. That card functions much the same as the Frontline Scout, only this time you not only get to look at your opponent's hand, you get to take a card from your opponent's hand and put it on the bottom of their deck. And also some equipment would be nice. Some of the legendary equipment such as an Arcanite Skullcap for better defense, or of course Prism's legendary equipment, the Phantasmal Footsteps, is really, really great for this deck. If you're lucky enough to open one at your pre-release, or if you can trade for it, then it really, really helps this deck have a bit more kind of punch and survivability and consistency. But even without those cards, this deck is really easy to pick up and play. I know Prism can be a little bit intimidating for a lot of newer players because she does all of these funky things at instant speed. There's spectras, there's all kinds of illusions going on. But actually, this deck is super simple. You're just smashing in with these big angels, and it's a lot of fun. And as we've already established, super cheap to build. So give it a go, and we'll see you next time with another version of Budget Blitz.